Hi, everyone. In today's session, we're going to cover a very important topic. But first, I would like to ask you a question. I'm going to show you a slide of a group of people, and you tell me what they have in common. Can you guess? Actually, it's this. These folks have all been hacked. In fact, a lot of celebrities have been hacked. And you really don't need to be a celebrity to be hacked. Every day, thousands of regular people like us fall victim to viruses and hackers. In fact, some of you in my class may have been victims. And so let's take an anonymous survey here. Okay, just click either of these links or type in the shortcut, and it'll take you to a little poll. It's an anonymous poll. And just if you've been hacked, just write down your experience. Okay, I think we'd all like to see if you have any problems, see what they are. Okay, and then sometime later, you can come back here and click on these links and you'll see the results. I hope that none of you have been hacked, and I hope that continues to be the case. And to that end, what we're going to talk about today is what you can do to keep your computer and your data safe. Today we're going to talk about the first half of Chapter 5. Basically, there are 5 topics here. First, we're going to talk about cybercrime and identity theft. Then we'll talk about the various kinds of malware. We're going to talk about how hackers attack you, how you can protect yourself from hackers and viruses. And we'll revisit passwords, take another close look at what you can do for creating a really strong password. And finally, we'll do a short review. Okay, but first, before we go into Chapter 5, let's just mention Chapter 4. The key topic there is digital convergence. This is an amazing thing. It's basically where one digital device serves many needs. And there's a number of really important examples here. Number one is the 3-in-1 printer, which combines a printer, a scanner, and a copier. And most of us probably have one of these at home, and they do an incredible job. And of course, the number one device is the smartphone, which combines a cell phone with texting, with email, with web, with a camera, with games. All these different things can be done on one single device that we can hold in our pocket. This is an amazing thing. And what's even more amazing is the stuff we'll see in the future. Who knows what kind of devices will be merged together. And it's going to be very exciting to watch that. There are a number of other interesting topics in Chapter 4. I highly suggest you take a look at it. It's really well written. It's easy to read. So take a look at it and see. We're not going to cover it here because a lot of these topics we'll be covering in other sessions and in our course. But I do recommend you take a chance. It's one of the best written chapters in the book. Okay, let's return to Chapter 5, and we'll start off with a little question here. Okay, blank is any criminal action perpetrated primarily through the use of a computer. Well, what could that be? Well, the answer is cybercrime. Okay, cybercrime is basically any criminal action perpetrated primarily through the use of computers, which is a fairly wide area. Okay, that covers a lot of ground there. Okay, and it could be programs that damage computers or computers that steal identities online, or people who attack corporate websites using computers. There's a lot of different ways you can commit crime using a computer. And one of the key ways is stealing your identity. Okay. In fact, it's the most financially damaging cybercrime affecting individual is identity theft. It's a theft. A thief steals your personal information, your name, social security number, your birth date, a bunch of different things. And then with that information, they can take loans out in your name, and then you get stuck paying off those loans. Not good. Not good. 14 million. What is that? That's the number of identity theft victims per year in the United States. That's basically 1 out of every 25 U.S. residents. Okay, well, how many people we have in our class here? We have about 25 people. So one of us has probably been a victim in the past year. Well, I haven't been a victim in the past year. I was a victim a number of years ago. But be aware, one of you may be a victim, if not already. So be real careful about that. And there are 39... What that means is 39,000 victims every day. That's a lot. That's a lot of problems there. Okay. What do identity thieves do? Basically, they obtain new credit cards in your name. They can write bad checks in your account. They can request phony tax refunds in your name. They can buy a home with your mortgage and then resell the house, and then you get stuck paying off the mortgage. Oh my God. Terrible. Now, how do they steal identities? Well, they can phish for social security numbers and passwords. Phish means they can trick you into revealing that information. They can eavesdrop on communications such as your email. They can install a keylogger on your PC. This is a program that records what you type what you type on the keyboard, and then sends it to the bad guys. And then they can hack into your PC and steal files, or they can hack into a company and steal records. There's lots of different ways. Oh, they can hack into your email account. A really, really popular way of doing it. Okay, one thing we have to be aware of is ATM card skimmers. Okay, we have two ATMs here. Can you notice the difference between the two? Okay, if you look carefully, okay, you look at the slot where you insert your credit card or your bank card, you can see there's a difference there. Okay, the one on the left is a nice flat thing there, but the one on the right has this raised thing there. What is that? That is a skimmer. Inside there's a little magnetic reader. As you insert your card, your bank card, it reads it before it gets read by the reader that's inside the ATM. And so it records the information and sends it on to the bad guys. And in many of these cases, there's also a tiny little camera. You can't see it here, but right above the keyboard, there's a little camera that records your PIN as you type it in there. So be careful when you're using an ATM, especially one that's outside on the sidewalk. Make sure that there's no strange things going on. Even gas pumps could have problems here. This looks pretty hokey here. It's got a Velcro strip there. That does not look too official there. So be careful. These guys will do anything to get your information. Okay, how do you steal? Basically, you can do it without a computer. Okay, you can steal purses and wallets, steal mail. Okay, they can look through trash and statements. Okay, remember, get a shredder. Okay, if you have important stuff, shred the mail before you throw it out. They can pose as bank reps on the phone. They can install skimming devices on the team, all sorts of things without a computer. That can cause problems. Now, they can even steal Social Security numbers from babies. A lot of parents, when they have a baby or a young child, they will get a Social Security number for that child, which is a good thing to do. But the problem is that the bad guys will actually go out and get that number, and they bring up a lot of debt in this baby's name, and nobody knows. Nobody thinks of checking the accounts for the baby. Baby's not going to take out any loans, but these bad guys do, and the babies get stuck with this terrible loan. All right, now one thing to be aware of is they have this thing called credit bureaus, which keep a record of all your credit transactions. Now, be aware, we don't ask for this, okay? These guys go do it. Every time we take out a loan, every time we make a purchase on a credit card, okay, every time we pay off a payment on something or other, these guys are notified about. Now, the three main companies are Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. There's also a fourth company, Innovis, which is trying to get into the mix. Okay, but the three major companies are very important. It's good to know about them. And they're not perfect, okay? In fact, Equifax a couple of years ago was hit by a hacker, got in there and stole the information on millions of their clients, okay, which could have been me. I don't know. We don't know. Okay, but you got to be careful. These companies could have problems. Now, you are entitled to get a free credit report from each credit bureau each year. Okay, so the importance is you can check it and make sure there's no mistakes. So it's a good idea to do that. And you may have seen ads like this for freecreditreport.com, which sounds good, but basically it gives you only one report from Experian, from just one of the companies. It's better to go to another place, annualcreditreport.com, and they will help you get all three credit reports. And you can check them, make sure everything's okay, see what your credit history looks like. And it's a good thing to do about every year just to make sure everything's okay. Now, one thing you can do to protect yourself, if you're not planning on taking the loan out for the next year or two and not planning on getting a new credit card, what you could do is do a credit freeze, which would prevent you or anyone else from taking the loan out in your name. And you used to have to pay money for this, but now they've required by law that they have to give it to you for free. So you can contact these companies. Just if you go into you go into the slideshow file, just click on these links. It'll take you right to the companies and you can apply for this. There's also a thing called a credit score, which basically gives you an idea of how credit worthy you are. Now, in the old days, you would go into a bank and you talk to the officer at the bank, and if you want to get a loan, you would talk to him. He would kind of look you over. You talk to the references that you gave. You talk to other people, see what kind of person you are, how trustworthy you are. And if he thought you were, or he or she thought you were worth giving a loan, they would give you the loan. Nowadays, of course, it's very different. And what they do, the bank would just basically call up one of the credit bureaus and say, hey, is Rich Malloy a credit-worthy person? Is he good? And they would give a score. Okay, the score is calculated by a company called FICO. And hopefully you would have a nice score and you'd be able to get a loan. Now, it's not just loans and mortgages that are affected by this. Sometimes jobs, your new boss may actually ask for your credit score before giving you a job, just to see how trustworthy you are. And how do you get a good credit score? Basically, pay your bills on time. Only apply for a credit card that you need. Okay, don't take out a loan unless you really need it. Okay, and then order the credit reports each year just to make sure there's no faulty things going on there. And if you see any errors, which happen, okay, just dispute them. Okay, they'll get taken off. Just dispute them. Make sure they get disputed before they cause you a problem. Well, I hope you all do everything you can to make sure that you have a good credit history. It's very important for getting a job or getting a loan or getting a mortgage to buy a house. And next, we'll talk about some really bad software that can cause all sorts of problems for you.